All right, chapter 11, the giving and taking of gifts. Matt wandered around the garden, admiring the ice sculptures and the fountain of wine with orange slices bobbing in the red pool. He dipped his finger in to taste. It wasn't as good as it looked. He checked the place cards on the tables and saw that he was, as usual, seated next to El Patron. Mr. McGregor was on El Patron's other side. The other favored guests were Mr. Alacon and Felicia. Bento, back from college, or rather expelled from college, and Stephen and Tom. Mr. Alcarin's father rounded out the guests at the head table. Everyone called him El Viejo these days because he seemed even older than El Patron. Humming to himself, Matt removed Tom's card and put it at the baby table. A nanny sat at each end to keep order, and high chairs were lined up on either side. Matt located Maria's card and placed it next to his. Next, Matt explored the edge of the garden, where the bodyguards found the sullen, dark perimeter. Each of the presidents, dictators, and generals had brought his own protectors, and of course the Alcarins have hired a small army for the party. Matt counted more than 200 men. Who were they guarding against, he wondered. Who was likely to come charging across the poppy fields? But Matt was used to bodyguards at all family affairs, and it seemed natural for them to be there. The sun was setting, and the garden was full of a cool green light. The mountains still glowed purple-brown in the distance, and the poppy fields were tipped with gold that faded even as watched. Lamps went on in the trees. Can you see that? There's a big party, tables lined, setting sun, cool green light around this beautiful garden. There's a purple-brown sunset in the distance. And then over here, there's poppy fields, and they are golden that fade. Can you see all those colors? You pig, cried Maria. Total change, right? Beautiful field now. You pig, cried Maria, who had football ensconced in a bag slung over her shoulder. We're going to go over what that word means in a minute. Just once you could be nice to Tom. I moved his card right back. I'm punishing him for trying to down footballs, Matt said. What on earth are you talking about? Football couldn't have fallen into the toilet and pulled the top down. It isn't possible. Tom did it. He couldn't be that evil, said Maria. Since when? Anyhow, it's my party, and I get to say who sits where. Matt was beginning to lose patience with Maria. He was trying to be nice to her. She is taking it all wrong. They eat mush at the baby table. Good, Matt said. He fetched Tom's card and replaced it. Maria reached for it again, and he grabbed her wrist quite hard. Ow, that hurts. I'm going to stay here. No, you aren't, said Matt. I'll do whatever I like. Matt ran back to his table, with Maria trying to push past him and grab her place card. El Patron had arrived, along with McGregor and the others. What's this? What's this? Said El Patron. Matt and Maria skeeted to a halt. I want her to sit next to me, said Matt. The old man laughed, a dry, dusty sound. Is she your little girlfriend? That's disgusting, said Mr. Alcarin. Is it? El Patron chuckled. Matt's no different than I was at that age. Matt's a clone. He is my clone. Sit here, girl. Make room for her, Tim Lamb. Tim Lamb found a place sitting for Maria. He frowned at Matt. Where's Tom? Felicia said. Everyone turned to look at her. Felicia was so quiet and so seldom seen. Most people seemed to forget she existed. I put him at the baby table, said Matt. You pig, shouted Maria. El Patron laughed. That's the stuff, mi vida. Get rid of your enemies when you can. I don't like Tom either, and dinner will be better without him. Felicia balled up her napkin in her fist, but she didn't say anything. I don't want to stay here. I want to be with Tom, cried Maria. Well, you can't, Matt said flatly. Why does she always have to stick up for him? She didn't even stop to think. There's no way Furball could have pulled the lid down on top of himself. But she didn't believe Matt because he was only a disgusting clone. A dull rage at the unfairness of it swept over him. Do as you're told, girl. Al Patron suddenly lost interest in the drama and turned to Mr. McGregor on his other side. Maria, choking back tears, was pushed up to the table by Tamlin. I'll see he gets the same food as the rest of us, he whispered. Oh, no, you won't, said Matt. Tamlin raised his eyebrows. Is that a direct order, Master Matt? Yes. Matt tried to ignore Maria's soft whimpers as she strove not to drive attention to herself. If she couldn't bring herself to punish him, he would do it for her. Food was brought and served. Maria selected bits to feed Furball and continued to stare down at her lap. Fetal brain implants. I must try that sometime. It's done wonders for you. Don't put it off too long, Al Patron advised. You have to get the doctors at least 5 months lead time. 8 is better. I won't be able to use... Oh no, he's much too old. Felicia was staring down at her plate with almost as much dejection as Maria. She wasn't even pretending to eat. She drank from a tall glass that was regularly filled by a servant. She looked pleadingly at McGregor, although Matt couldn't guess what she could want from him. In any case, he ignored her. So did her husband and everyone else for that matter. Alvio spilled his food and made a mess on the tablecloth. No one paid attention to him either. See, there's an example of someone who didn't get his implants when he should have, said Al Patron, pointing at Alvijo. Father decided against it, said Mr. Alcarin. He's a fool then. Look at him, Matt. Would you believe that's my grandson? Matt hadn't worked out the exact relationship between Alvijo and Al Patron before. Had it seemed important? Al Patron looked Asian, no doubt about it, but his mind was sharp. At least now it was, after those whatever they were implants. Alvijo could hardly string a sentence together, and some of the time he sat in his room and screamed. Celia said that happened to some old people, and that Matt mustn't worry about it. I could believe he's your grandfather, said Matt. Al Patron laughed. That's what comes of not taking care of yourself. Father decided implants were immortal, said Mr. Alcran, and I honored his decision. Sudden intake of breath around the table told Matt that Mr. Alcaron had said something dangerous. He's deeply religious. He thinks God put him on earth for a certain number of years, that he mustn't ask for more. El Patron stared at Mr. Alcarin for a long moment. I'll overlook your rudeness, he said at last. It's my birthday and I'm in a good mood. But someday you'll be old too. Your body will start to fall apart and your brain will deteriorate. See if you're so high-minded then. He went back to eating and everyone relaxed. May I check up on Tom? Felicia said in her uncertain way. Stay out of this, growled Mr. Alcaran. I only wanted to see if he had food. For God's sake, he is capable of standing on his own hind legs and finding something to eat. Those were Matt's sentiments too, but he was surprised at the anger Mr. Alcaran showed towards Felicia. How could anyone get mad at her? She was so helpless. Felicia hung her head and withdrew into silence. All right, so, sorry guys, one moment.